Enslaved by our negativity. Have you ever thought about that? Even as I'm standing here with my hands clasped together, almost like a slave that's being bound, and you see the chain around my neck. Slavery has been abolished many years ago. But many of us are still enslaved, but it's enslaved by our negativity. Today I'm going to talk about the 3 chains of negativity and how to break them. How to actually physically take those chains and break them. Because as you know, a lot of the slaves were wrapped in chains. Ankles wrapped in chains. Their hands were bound in chain and they were tightly strung together. But then they had a chance to actually get free. And what did they do? They moved forward in their life. They didn't just stay in that dungeon. They didn't just stay in that cell. They didn't keep that same state of mind. They moved forward. And we're going to talk about the 3 key elements of breaking the chain of negativity. Chain number 1 is thinking negatively with your mind. Always thinking negatively. You're never thinking about the positive. You're thinking negatively. Well, I don't think I can do that. Why would they ever want me to be the boss? I can't ever advance in this job. You're talking about people being doctors, being nurses, being lawyers, being whatever it is that you do. Thinking negatively about your situation. Thinking negatively never gets you anywhere. Hear me when I say this. Being negative is like somebody has a chain on your right arm, they have a chain on your left arm, and somebody's pulling you to the right, and they're pulling you to the left. You can't go backwards. You can't go forward. You're just stuck. Until finally you decide to break the chain of negativity so that you can move on with your life. But it all starts with the mind. I'm trying to energize you. Can you stand up right now real quick? Everybody just stand up. I want you to take your hand and just grasp your hand tightly. Now just kind of shake it. Don't hit your neighbor now. Pull it apart. Say, break those chains.
Break those chains.
Say it again. Break those chains.
Break those chains.
Good job. Have a seat. I think it's important for you to do things physically and to visualize actually breaking those chains so that you can get free. But it starts in your head, in your mind, the most advanced computer in the world. In fact, when you have computer problems, what do? You reboot or you hit restore. Because you want things to be new. You have to take that next step in your life. So you need to break those chains again. Think about it. When have you thought positive about your situation? There's so many negatives, and even people that don't realize that they're negative, they can be negative. And that's how you break the chain. You have to think positive about your situation. So I don't know what you're doing for work, but you can make that next step. You can make that next jump. Whatever it is. You don't have to feel like you have to, I gotta crawl to run. Whatever it is, you can run towards your destination, but you have to think positively. And yes, I get excited. Yes, I have a lot of energy. That's what God put inside of me. God didn't make some guy that's like, oh me, oh my. Tiger's embarrassed, oh my. That's not who God made. But I've learned even that I have to intentionally, for different people, slow things down a little bit. Because that energy for some people is a little too much. But that's what He put inside of me. So I have to think positively, and guess what I have to say? Yes, I can learn to slow things down a little bit. Yes, I can. I remember being in high school, still talking about the mind now. I said, I can't learn a foreign language, so I couldn't. About 50, I started saying, I can. So I started learning Russian, started learning sign language, started learning Spanish, started learning Swahili, Mandarin Chinese, started learning a little Japanese, a little Arabic. And I never say that to brag. What I'm saying is because of what's going on in your head. You got to break that negative chain. That's number 1. And how do you break it? By speaking positively and thinking positively. So let's go back to the mind. Start thinking, I can do it. You know what? Yeah. Yeah. I can lose that weight. Yeah. I can eat better. Yeah, you know what? I may not know how to fix that air conditioning myself, but I can get some books and maybe I can learn to do it. But you have to think positively about your situation in order to break those chains. Remember again, if you don't break the chain, it's like you can't go forward, you can't go backwards. They're keeping you in bondage, so you're enslaved in negativity. Chain number 2 is what you speak. So if you speak negatively about your situation, you never get anywhere. Negative things that keep people in fear. And a way to get ahead and a way to stretch yourself is to do something that you've never done. And when I did this speech on teardrops for better health, I've never done that before. That's called, again, stretching yourself. Taking the leap of faith, breaking those chains. So start breaking those chains. How do you do that again? Speaking positive about your situation. First chain was, what was it? Come on, somebody. The mind. Breaking the negative chain of the mind. Second one is breaking with your speech. Start actually verbalizing what do you want to do. And I started saying, you know what, I can learn language. I remember when I couldn't jump rope and I was trying to jump rope. And I couldn't jump rope. It was so bad. I hid in a room. And I've said this before. And I started trying to jump rope 30 seconds out. I couldn't jump. But I was an athlete because I was coached. But I was embarrassed because I couldn't jump rope. So I started jumping. Then finally, about 3 months, I'm doing like 30 minutes. A year later, I'm doing like an hour straight jump roping. Okay? Okay? I say that to encourage you because I was so bad at jump roping. There's things that maybe you're bad at. I got something I'm working on right now. Do you know why it hasn't been done yet? Yeah, I'm telling myself. A little negativity kind of creeps in. You say, well, will they like it? I'm going to charge them $450 for the event. Will they come? See, that affects everybody, whether you want to admit it or not. Nobody here is immune from that. We all have times in our life when that negativity tries to come back in and tries to re-enslave us. And it holds us back and you can't go forward. You want to go forward, but you can't, right? That's what it does. Visualize the chain. And earlier, I had you take a second to actually physically stand up and to break those chains. Think of it that way. Even when I speak, I don't come here to speak. Be honest, for fun. I come here because I believe I need to help myself. And when I'm talking to you about something, it reinforces to me the things that I need to work on myself. Because Ron Henderson is not perfect. I'm a work in progress, and so are you. But you got to break the chain. Number 3 is chain of inaction, where you never do anything. You know, you're kind of like you're sitting at home right now and you're watching TV. Remember the old days with TV? You had to go like this. All right, channel 2. Okay? Your dad said, son, get up there. I'll slap you, go change. So you come up there again and you change that station. That's physical action. Nowadays we just sit on the couch and we go, whoop, whoop, whoop. And the only physical action we get is on our fingers. Yeah. And that's really good. I'm not going to show off, but that's how I'm going to do the push-ups just on your thumbs, because you've got strong fingers. Okay? Not like this, like that. All right? So it kind of helped a little bit, kind of paid off a little bit, right? But if you're not doing anything, you're not going to bet. You can't say, I want to gain weight. You can't say, I want to lose weight, but you still sit in your chair. Because no matter what you look like, guess what? Biceps will drop, butts will drop, chest will drop, everything will drop eventually. But you have to take the physical action right now to break those chains of negativity so that you can increase in here, in your body. But it will take all those 3 chains by doing physical actions. Start some type of a workout program. Start some kind of a mental program. When I say mental program, visualize. Start reading some books that can reinforce the things that you know. All right? Last thing I'm going to talk about, because it's important. Even with my prostate, and I talk about it openly, going to the clinic every day for my radiation, people would see that as a negative. I said, it's not negative. They said, you got cancer, we know how to treat it. Amen. We know how to treat it, we're going to fix it. So I'm sitting in there and people are coming in. Excuse me, sir, what's your name? I met a guy last week, his name is Lee. His wife's name is Cheryl. I met his best friend, his name is Brian Mark. I met his brother, whose name is Gary. He used to live in St. Louis, Missouri. I got to pray for the guy. See, that's a positive. There's nothing negative about it. Are you getting what I'm saying? Start taking your life and creating your own reality of positivity so that you can break those chains that do bind you. Because if there's a book that you wanted to write and you haven't written it, something's got you bound. If there's that next position at work that you want to go for but you haven't gone for it, something's got you bound. You have to take that next step in life. I'm going to go over it one more time. Chain number 1 that you wanted to break in negativity was the mind. Chain number 2 that you needed to break was how you speak that chatter. And even if it isn't you talking, if you're in a crowd of people that are constantly talking negative, okay, negativity breeds negativity, and positivity breeds positivity. All right, negative chatter, talking about that, the mind thinking negative, and the last one, talking about being negative with the physical body. We're going to change that today, and guess what we're going to do? Say it!
Break those
Say it like you mean it. Break those chains, and we're going to move forward.
To book Ron Henderson for your next event, call 612-386-8178 or send an email to ron@fitnessking.com. That's ron@fitnessking.com.